make a move and the bunny gets it.
I said, put the bunny back in the box. Why couldn't you put the bunny back in the box?
It's showtime.
Psychically, I'm very well endowed.
I want to know what you're thinking. There are some things you can't hide. I want to know what you're feeling. Tell me what's on your mind.
Hey everybody, just use Grok to do a little animation there. That's probably the closest I'll ever come to meeting Ray, since he was passed away in 2013, RIP. Well, today though, we're going to talk a little bit about something I like to call authenticity. Okay. Now, one of the things that I think people have completely kind of lost the plot on is the ability for someone to tell the story in a medium in such a way that may not be cutting edge, may not be at the most modern way, and yet somehow it can still be more authentic than something that is being used like AI technology or something like that, which we're about to see a whole bunch of. So this gentleman, Raymond Frederick Harryhausen, born in 1920, passed away 2013, lived a long life. And he saw the King Kong movie when he was a little lad. And that movie had an impact on a lot of people, Hitler included. But it is what it is. But that movie, basically, seeing that character that couldn't possibly exist in real life being brought together with things like camera positioning, green screen, and clay modeling. But in such a way that it was compelling, and you were able to like forget for 1 minute that it doesn't look like it's realistic in a lot of ways. It's not moving as smoothly as something like real life would. But somehow it's even more compelling because of the care taken to the facial expressions, which no trained ape could do. And it showed an intelligence there. And it was basically acting through special effects. A special effects character that was carrying the plot as an actor, as the primary actor, as the primary focus of the movie. And that was revolutionary. No one had really seen that before then, and no one, and I mean, there have been things like Metropolis's transformation scene, which predates King Kong by almost a decade. That was very influential in a lot of ways. But something about the way the King Kong carried the movie made young Ray Harryhausen think, that's what I want to do with my life. And so he began basically came in on the bottom level, bottom rung. Was the guy that got the coffee. He back when you could work your way up from the bottom. It's not about who you knew, but it's how hard you're willing to work and how quick you pick things up. But anyway, so he changed the way Mr. Ray Harryhausen changed the way movies were made. He was able to do more on a minuscule budget than a lot of the biggest Hollywood movies were able to accomplish. And a lot of the movies that had greater budgets than he did that came out around the same time, we can't name you those movies because they didn't have the impact that Ray's movies did. 1 second, got a comment over here. So in life. Hello, Huxley. Welcome to the show. Appreciate you being here. Okay. Now he wasn't ever a writer, and he never had writing credits on the movies that he produced. But he just, basically it wasn't in his toolbox, but it was about the only thing that wasn't in his toolbox. So he would basically he would have the best writers he could get a hold of make a script for him, and then he would set about to bring that to life. Now, the reason Hollywood has fallen off a cliff, quality wise, is because they don't go into anything with a solid script. Okay, and this is something that has been rehashed and hashed over again, especially the Marvel movies. The thing that does, though, is it means that the special effects shots have to be put in later after they solidify everything through the shooting process. But what Ray did was Ray had that script locked in, and then Ray set about bringing that script to life. And it might take 14 weeks on one sequence that lasts about a minute and a half. The skeleton sequence for the Argonauts. I had a bunch of clips and things like that just disappeared on me right before showtime. I'm not really sure what happened. That's happened to me multiple times before. I don't know what's going on with that. But I did have this Jason and the Argonaut sequence downloaded, but can't find it. I don't know where it's at. I thought I might have thrown it away, but no. But anyway, I will find it eventually, I guess, after the show. It'll probably be somewhere easily accessible. But the thing about it was when Ray made a special effect, he was not making something to like make the movie pretty. He wasn't going for set dressing. He was trying to create like elements that move the movie along. He was trying to make special effects that could be the prime mover of the movie. Like the owl from the Clash of the Titans. That owl took him almost a year to make, and he put it together through all these little pieces of metal. And so and little vials will spin and things like that. That was all done by hand. And so when you see that much care, that much affection, that much love on the screen, it comes out. I mean, it comes out in everything that you produce. I think one of the problems that we're having with modern Hollywood movies coming out is you can always tell that things were done last minute. Things were done on the fly. Changes were made, in media res. That things that the end product was not what it started out to be. And when you do that, you flaw the process the whole way through. And Ray understood that. But he is known as cinema's only special effects auteur. And he was like called that by several sources or whatever. He had Lifetime Achievement Awards and things like that. He also, one of the things that he did was there was a Fantastic Four movie that was never supposed to see the light of day. They didn't know it. Nobody knew it when they were making it, but it turned out to be a huge tax write-off. And basically somebody wanted to keep the rights for Fantastic Four. And so they threw this movie together and they had Ray Harryhausen do the effects. And to this day, Ray's version of Doctor Doom is as close as we've ever gotten to Doctor Doom. Anybody that's seen that, movie will tell you that that version of Doctor Doom is about the best that we're ever going to get. Ray also didn't know that he was basically creating what he was creating wasn't supposed to see the light of day, because Ray didn't do anything halfway. You brought Ray on board, you were getting his A game, because Ray didn't do any other way. So he started with the two movies were The Lost World and King Kong. And so he basically invented his own stop motion like system while he was still a teenager. And he called it dynamicism. Okay. Hold on a second. In the good timeline, gold is only 500 an ounce and the Reichsmark is strong. Not sure what that has to do with anything, but thanks for coming to the show. So anyway, the first thing he did was Mighty Joe Young, which he was working with O'Brien, his mentor. And then he did Animal World, but then he took on the animation for The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms. I have a clip from that. Hold on a second. Okay, here it is.
Cam! Are you daft, man?
The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms unleashed the Rhedosaurus. It's a radioactive dinosaur who wakes up from a long nap thanks to an Arctic nuke test and decides Manhattan looks like a decent lunch. Sound a little familiar? Well, that's because Godzilla came out the following year and it borrowed heavily from this very premise. It's like Harryhausen built the blueprint and Toho just added more shrieking. This was the first film to feature Ray's dynamation process in a starring role, and it put him on the map, or I mean, maybe it crushed the map more like it. The Rhedosaurus was a fully hand-sculpted stop-motion model, animated with painstaking care to give it real weight and animalistic movement.
A phenomenon which was not uncommon during the war.
But George Ritchie wasn't dead when I got to him. He tried to warn me. Two people don't share the same hallucination.
It wasn't just a rampaging beast. I mean, it reacted, it stalked, it even limped from injury. Ray had a gift for making monsters feel, lived in, not just lobbed onto the screen. Ray later admitted he was inspired by King Kong and wanted his own creature to attack a major city. And it did, and it worked. The Coney Island rampage alone makes the movie worth it. Plus, this film was one of the first to convincingly integrate stop-motion creatures with live-action environments, using split-screen matte techniques that would become Ray's signature. This wasn't just another monster flick. It was the big bang of modern creature features.
One of the things that Ray started doing that was revolutionary was he started putting, he started using like a redundant movement in the creatures. Okay. Now, what I mean by that is if something is live, if something is got some kind of animation to it, then it doesn't just do the action that it's intending to do. It does little things like if like I'm on the stream or something, I'm talking to you, but I might like scratch my nose or something like that. It's the little ticks that create personality, that create animation, that create lifelike movement. And Ray was the first one to really kind of hone in on that. If with the Beast from 20,000 Fathoms, when you saw that, it would do it would do things like it would, when it was looking around the lighthouse, it like looked around and then it backed off and then it looked around the other way and then it went up. See, before that time, like when you watched The Lost World, the Beast would have just gone straight up. They didn't focus on any kind of redundancy. They didn't focus on any kind of like secondary action. And Ray was the first one to really start doing that. And so what that did was it gave a more lifelike feel to he was not only going, he wasn't just going for like lifelike, he was going for like a notch above lifelike. He wanted to like he wanted the energy to emanate off of his creatures that would kind of like make them feel bigger than life. And so he would use like camera angles, he would use low camera angles, he would use green screen. And but the thing that really set him apart was that dynamation. And dynamation was all about that the creatures not only did their intended movement, but there was all this little secondary stuff. I saw him do an interview talking about this. And if you want to like animate anything, if they really make it look realistic, you watch this, when you see a real great animation, you will see all these little secondary things in it, because what really brings something to life are movements that they make that they're not aware of. What really separates one person from another. I went to school with some twins, some twin sisters, and they still to this day are the closest looking sisters I've ever seen, or closest looking twins I've ever seen. I literally cannot tell them apart, except one of the sisters had a slight slunch to her shoulders and kind of like walked around, and the other one was way more athletic, and so she had her shoulders square, and so I could take a glance and I could tell which one was which, even though they looked exactly alike. And things like that are all part of character. anybody's building a character from the bottom up, like the British repertory people do, they will pay attention to little details like how somebody walks or how they talk or how they, you know, they'll ask a question like if they're going to scratch their nose, which finger are they going to use? And if you can answer that, then you're closer to cracking a character. Hannibal Lecter and Anthony Hopkins doesn't eat people, okay, but he was able to convincingly portray somebody who would, and the reason why is he spent enough time figuring out how Hannibal stands, how Hannibal looks at people. He looks at people like meat, okay, and so he found a way to put that in his eyes when Hannibal looks at somebody. They're thinking about, how much meat are on them. And so Harryhausen, he was doing that with miniatures. But he also, several of these movies I'm going to play for you are good examples of his work. Now, he not only did like creature features, he also did special effects for science fiction. Like this one, Earth versus Outer Space.
Earth vs. the Flying Saucers, way back in 1956. It's what happens when your 4th of July fireworks get hijacked by spinning dinner plates from space. The plot? It's pretty straightforward. Aliens are mad, humans are confused, and only science, plus lots of military stock footage, can save us from mid-century vaporization. What sets this one apart from its UFO happy peers? It's Harryhausen's meticulous flying saucer animation. He didn't just spin discs, he made them move. I mean, they dip, they dive, they crash into domes, and they wobble midair like they're confused about physics.
Listen.
Ray created detailed wireframe models for each saucer. Then he hand animated their destruction frame by frame. And he had to layer all that over real footage using his patented dynamation technique. While the film may play like a sci-fi pamphlet for duck and cover drills, it's one of Ray's early showcases of blending effects into live action with real finesse. Plus, the destruction of DC, it's just amazing. The film inspired a generation of alien invasion cinema, and even Tim Burton cited it as a direct influence on Mars Attacks.
Unit calling GHQ. Saucer hidden down in the Potomac.
One second, folks. I'm trying to find this this clip. I know I downloaded it. Where did it go? I'll be right with you guys. Sorry, I know I'm not being professional right now. Okay, I'm not seeing it. That's disappointing. Hold on. 1 second. Nope, it's not there. All right. Anyway, sorry about that. Got comments over here. Decades later, still looks quite solid. Yeah. Well, that's the thing about it is, yeah, we got better technology now, but there's something about what Harryhausen did that is still extremely watchable, even with what we got with CGI, and even with AI. There's something about what he accomplished that still is very compelling. It's still so very compelling. This explains a lot.
What's up, Vault Dwellers? Dan here, and today we're diving into the rubbery, mythic, and monster-filled world of the one and only Ray Harryhausen. Before CGI started showing up like a uninvited Disney live-action sequel, Ray was out here, just one guy, a camera, and about 1 million hours of patience, bringing giant beasts, gods, aliens, and dinosaurs to life, one frame at a time. Harryhausen's creatures had more personality than most leading men. So we're counting down 13 of the wildest, weirdest, and most wonderful creature showcases. So grab your bronze shield, dodge that kraken, and let's get claymated, baby.
Okay, I probably should play that at first. But he not only did like monster work and model work, he also did perspective work and green screen. And he was like able to do some incredible effects that other people hadn't even attempted up to that point. Because he had an engineer's mind, okay, and he was all about solving the problem. There was a story that had never really been successfully told, and it was Gulliver's Travels. And this is what he did with that.
Our enemy sent him to kill us. He's their secret weapon.
Weapon? No, a wave washed me off a ship and... Oh, Elizabeth. I must find her. Let me up.
He'll break his bonds! Kill him!
No.
The three worlds of Gulliver proved that even when Harryhausen wasn't animating monsters, he still knew how to raise a little havoc. And this one's a fantasy adventure adaptation of Jonathan Swift's classic. Now, this isn't Harryhausen's flashiest showcase, right? But it's technically an impressive flex. He was integrating human actors with giant props, miniature sets, and stop-motion animals that required precision work.
Macavan, shrunken people are little people, and little people are toy people. And no one in the entire land of Brobdingnac has them except me.
The sequence with the giant squirrel, it was a particular headache, blending puppetry with rear projection and composite shots, so seamless that even modern VFX artists, they nod respectfully. Gulliver may be the most restrained of Ray's filmography, but it's a key example of his genius at making scale believable, emotionally readable, and weird fantasy logic somehow logical. The film might be forgotten by the popcorn crowd, but to VFX nerds, this was a masterclass in pre-digital trickery. Gulliver never looked so delightfully off-scale.
Starved to death, sire. Our mathematicians have determined that he is equal in size to 1,728 of our own people.
Well, like Gulliver's Travels, if you look at it, one of the things that he did so well was he blended live action with the special effects, and he did it in such a way that made it almost seamless, and he was just an expert at it. You watch something like the Gnome Mobile from Walt Disney around the same time, and you can see like where the little guys in the live action kind of had a break there. You could see the green screen, and I'm not sure what Ray was doing that was different from everybody else, but when he did a green screen effect, it was more believable. And I think it's because he used practical, things in the foreground as well as the background, and so when he had something like Gulliver's being that big, but he would also have a physical something in the foreground to anchor the green screen, and it just made the effect that much more powerful, and it still holds up today. You watch Ray's stuff, and it still holds up. This guy, he died in 2013, but he'd been active since the early, probably active with his own stuff since the 40s. That's quite a career. I mean, it's incredible. So this was another one. The two movies that really made me a Harryhausen fan. That one of them was the Clash of the Titans, but my clip hit several of YouTube's warnings, so I'm not going to try to play it. Even though that one sequence, that's the reason why I played that clip there. It's because that sequence with Medusa and Perseus is just still to this day is jaw dropping. I mean, it's still scary as heck. All right, so the two movies that really made me a Harryhausen fan were the two Sinbad movies. Okay, the first one was the Golden Voyage of Sinbad. Let me play that.
The bauble that hangs at your throat, Captain, is mine. Hand it to me, or you will have no throat.
The Golden Voyage of Sinbad, it has everything. There's magic talismans, evil wizards, lost continents, and monsters who absolutely did not come from a PG-rated storybook. So Sinbad, he faces down a centaur, a griffin, and the show-stopping Kali statue, which is a six-armed nightmare ballerina with better sword skills than half the stuntmen in Hollywood. Ray went full Baroque with the creature lineup here. The Kali fight alone took him 3.5 months to animate. Each arm moving independently in an intricate sword dance that pushed stop motion into ballet territory. The scene was choreographed like a musical number, with precise timing and dynamic lighting that makes it one of the most iconic battles in all of fantasy cinema. But Kali wasn't alone. There's also a one-eyed centaur brawler and a griffin that wouldn't look out of place on a death metal album cover. Each creature not only looks fantastic, but acts with personality, grunting, hesitating, and roaring with menace. The film was a huge success, earning Ray a special Saturn Award and solidifying his dominance in the fantasy genre.
Okay, the Kali fight. Now that one is still jaw-dropping. Each individual arm had to be animated, but also the actors to match what the actors were doing. So he had to check what the actors were doing, and then animate it, to match or to kind of meet their swords. And so it all had to be choreographed. It all had to be animated. And when you look at it, it's seamless. Hold on a second. Who's bad? See, hey, Wrangler, yeah. Hey, man, good to see you. But the one that that one I liked. I mean, I enjoyed that one, but the one that really kind of got me was the second Sinbad movie. This was the first sequel that Harryhausen had ever done, and because he wasn't, there's so many voyages of Sinbad stories, and that he had like almost unlimited, source material to go from. But the second one, this was the one that really got me, and there was a troglodyte in it, like this caveman, and there was a fight between him and the Minotaur, a mental Minotaur that was created just completely from Harryhausen's mind. He made a clockwork Minotaur, and it's just incredible what he was able to accomplish. And this is before CGI. This is before any animation or computer animation was possible. Computer animation didn't come into the late 70s. The first computer animation was on the Westworld movie. There was an animation where the robot cowboy saw somebody come over the rise, and they animated what he was seeing, and it was heavily pixelated. And it took a cray supercomputer like days to compile just a few seconds of visual data. But so Harryhausen's kind of like, oh, I could have done that. I could have done that for you cheap. But anyway, so this one right here, the second Sinbad movie, that's the one that I watched it over and over and over. I mean, I watched it numerous and numerous times, but that's my movie. So here you go.
Captain, we'd better return to the ship.
Yes, best to leave and sell our cargo elsewhere.
I'm not leaving Chirac until I see Princess Farah and Qasim.
But, Captain, it is the plague.
Is there another way into the town?
No. But if you wish to take the risk, you may enter at daybreak when the curfew is lifted.
Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger is the movie where you can almost hear Ray saying, "Oh, you want monsters? I'll give you monsters." I mean, we're talking witches, ghouls, a bronze automaton, giant walruses, and a muscle-bound troglodyte who honestly deserves his own sitcom. The story? Well, you have Sinbad trying to reverse a spell that turned a prince into a baboon. And the only solution involves crossing Arctic wastelands, scaling death mountains, and battling a literal ice witch. Yeah, no big deal. The baboon alone is one of Ray's most emotionally expressive creatures. He studied real primate behavior to get the twitchy, intelligent movements just right. And the troglodyte, a horned, good-hearted caveman beast, it became a surprise fan favorite, especially when he joins Team Sinbad like it's just another Tuesday. Then there's the ghouls, clawed, skeletal creepers that ambush our heroes in a crypt, and a towering saber-toothed tiger that throws hands and claws like it's in the WWF. Critics were lukewarm, but audiences, they ate it up. And it's easy to see why. The film's a monster palooza, the last of Harryhausen's Sinbad trilogy, and proof that even in the late 70s, nobody blended magic and motion like Ray did.
Qasim, bring Trog. Bring him over there. There, to my father.
Okay, the sequence with that baboon are just incredible. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of people for many years that thought that the baboon was actually like the real deal, because it looks so realistic. I mean, it moves like a baboon. It has the same mannerisms as a baboon. He used actually, like people who study primates, he used like they had them look at it and watch what he was doing to give it like that extra credibility. And I mean, the baboon's just incredible. But the troglodyte's my favorite. I love the trog. But he killed that saber tooth, and then but the next one he came up against was that Minotaur, and he didn't survive that. But I mean, the fight between the Trog and the Minotaur is just it's just an incredible sequence, and all this was without computer animation. All this is green screen. It's got camera angles and models, and just sheer brilliance. And so here's a kind of like a run through of the monsters. I found like a kind of a compilation of all the monsters that he created. Just to give you an idea, this is not the exhaustive list, but it's pretty good. Here you go. There you go. Hold on, got a comment over here. There's no audio. No, I cut the audio out because I had to speed it up. I didn't want to risk the algorithm, so I sped it up to. It was like 6 minutes long, and if you play anything above 3 minutes, even if it's not triggering the algorithm, sometimes you'll get struck just because the clip's too long. I'm trying to live within the limitations that this platform allows me, or that forces on me. I'm not alone. A lot of people just ready to leave this freaking platform. But anyway, it's best we got right now, unfortunately. All right, so the thing about there's two other movies that, if you like Harryhausen, are must-sees. Hold on a second. There you gotcha, yeah. But Jason and the Argonauts has what's considered the best sequence that Harryhausen ever did, and that's the skeleton soldiers and also the metal statue. Now the sound design, he doesn't get enough respect for his sound design. But when the Argonauts are kind of like on this island and they're thinking it's like, well, there's nothing scary here. And then suddenly this gigantic metal statue turns its head and looks at him. I had that sequence, but YouTube gacked it, so I couldn't find it. But when he turns his head, you hear the metal bend. So if it's a statue that's moving around and it's made out of metal, then it's going to bend every time it moves. And he had that sound, how he came up with it. But when you watch it, it's like, oh crap, you never 1 second think that that's animation. It's just jaw dropping. But he, like I said, the Fantastic Four, he was never allowed to finish his special effects on that. But anyway, let me see here. But he's never allowed to his special effects on that one. And let me see here. But yeah, everybody lost out on that one. Everybody lost out on that one. But let's see. There towards the end of his life, in the 2010s, he was he released like self-colorized versions of his earlier work on Blu-ray. 20 Million Miles to Earth, Earth versus Flying Saucers that came from beneath the sea. He also supervised the colorization of 3 films, 2 of them partial tribute to Marion C. Cooper, who had supervised King Kong. And The Most Dangerous Game, and She, and in the movie Things to Come. So that's a crazy scene you're describing. Yeah, it is. And I had it, but YouTube's kind of like, no, what the heck, YouTube don't let people do stuff. It's called fair use, whatever happened to broadcast yourself. YouTube's not all about that anymore. They're not about that. But he, in 1986, he formed the Ray and Diana Harryhausen Foundation, which preserves his collection, promotes the use of art of stop motion animation. It also has a lot of his miniatures. If you can go to their museum, it's got a lot of his miniatures from his movies. So let me see here. What else has he done recently? Well, he was friends with Ray Bradbury. That's something I knew I learned today. But that was something I didn't know. Let me see here. But yeah, he managed to get some of his laurels while he was still alive. He did get a lot of Lifetime Achievement Awards and things like that. Ray Harryhausen, stop motion grandmaster. Yeah, he was. Did I just show my age of that last comment? My YouTube account predates Google taking ownership of it. Yeah. About that. But yeah, Clash of the Titans is probably considered like pretty much the pinnacle of his box office success. Clash of the Titans was actually one of the only movies that he ever produced that was like a major Hollywood production. And so it really did. But it really did have a pretty large release. That was one of the few ones that he ever did. But yeah, so if you haven't seen Golden Voyage of Sinbad or Sinbad in the Eye of the Tiger, get them. I kid you not. You got to see him to believe him. Yeah. Okay. So there was this one movie that had a special effect that Harryhausen was in awe of. And let me see. Okay. See if you can spot it. But Ray Harryhausen said that this was the greatest special effect that he didn't create. He said God can only create this. See if you can see what I'm talking about.
One million years BC. I mean, the science is bad and the history is worse. And the fashion sense, right, that's iconic. Because you doubt Raquel Welch with a fur bikini, and that thing became more famous than some presidents did. But under all the cheesecake and caveman grunts lies a Harryhausen prehistoric parade of just jaw-dropping dinosaur chaos. And people, that's the reason we're here today. Ray was given the task of populating this world with a Discovery Channel's worth of dinosaurs. There's some allosaurs, triceratops, a giant prehistoric sea turtle, and there are those winged pterosaurs. I mean, each was designed with anatomic detail and a sinister personality. Ray insisted on treating his prehistoric beasts not as props, but as characters, giving them like behavior and emotion, and some even a touch of humor. He took what could have been another like B-picture cash grab and elevated it into one of the most visually memorable prehistoric films ever made. It's not historically accurate. I mean, but neither was Jurassic Park. And this one, it had a better crabby turtle.
Yeah, Ray said that there was a special effect in that one that only God could do. Let's see. Sinbad movies were great. This kind of production adventure I want. Yeah. Anyway, it was Raquel Welch. Raquel Welch became a pinup girl due to a still from that movie where she was wearing like a kind of like a animal skin bikini and furry lower extremities coverage, which didn't leave much to the imagination. And so Ray's pretty much like, so I do all these dinosaurs and nobody remembers it because Raquel Welch is wearing that. Oh, anyway. Remain still. Their visions based on movement. Yeah. Well, speculation. We really don't know anything about dinosaurs. Okay. Everything that they say about dinosaurs is totally extrapolation. That's the funny thing. Is you hear them talking about like, oh, the allosaurus did this, or the Tyrannosaurus' habits were this, or we don't even know if the bones that we've got put together are symbolic of the actual dinosaurs, the way they look, or which bones are supposed to be connected to which bones. And a lot of times they've come back later and discovered that the way they put a bone together was wrong. And so we've had it all in our books and children's books and things like that. And then they discovered that, actually, I think it was the Stegosaurus that they got the head wrong on. It was a Triceratops. I discovered that they had the wrong head on the Triceratops, and it never got corrected. So my mother had a Raquel Welch yoga book. She's an yeah. Raquel just recently passed, by the way. R.I.P. But yeah, I love that. Ray's kind of like it's like I created all these dinosaurs and nobody's gonna remember it because she's wearing that, you know. He says I can create all this, but I can't create that. You know, you have to leave that to God. Okay, movement-based vision was side affected, altered DNA in the book and misconstrued in the movie, not actual dino theory. Right. Yeah, think about Michael Crichton, though. Michael Crichton really went detailed on his research. And so you'll find things. I've discovered things Michael Crichton told me that later on turned out to be more accurate than what I knew. Like what was the time travel one? Timeline. Like there's some stuff in Timeline I had no idea that he'd done research on. Like I had no idea that Abraham Lincoln had a high voice, high reedy voice. That people, one of the reasons why he wasn't taken seriously and why he lost all those debates with Stephen Douglas was because of his voice. No idea. But after I read that Timeline, I went and looked it up. I was like, holy crap, he's right. You know, holy crap. I did not know that. So yeah, Michael Crichton did his research. But anyway, so basically with Ray Harryhausen, the reason why his movies are still being reevaluated today, you know, with the whole CGI craze and all this other stuff, AI coming in, people are like craving real craftsmanship. They're craving real storytelling. They're craving, you know, they're craving like real characters in the creatures that are being portrayed on the screen. And a lot of these CGI creations they didn't figure out what Ray did about the secondary movements and like dynamicism. If you think I'm full of it, you know, he's got plenty of interviews on this, but he said that constant craving. There you go. But if you want to, if you know what Ray said about it was that animations all in the secondary movements of the animated. It's all about you know, if you've drawn it something, if you're animating something, and basically, you know, maybe just animate it brushing hair over its ear, doing that simple animation, not drawing any attention to itself, maybe a secondary action, maybe while it's doing something else, but any kind of little secondary movement that you can make. Like the troglodyte had this thing where he would step up, he would kind of like lean forward and lean back, mainly because if you look at his feet, you know, the troglodyte's feet were kind of like bent backwards. And I'm not entirely sure why they did that, but it would cause balance issues. And so the thing was constantly moving back and forth to balance. And that kind of detail gave it a kind of like a verisimilitude that made you believe that it was real. And you can watch these CGI monstrosities that got today. And for even though it's more realistic looking, even though it's much smoother, even though it's like a maybe more eye popping in a lot of ways, it just, there's never a moment where you forget that that is not real. You always know. I mean, I've watched the Avatar movies, and the Avatar movies, as beautiful as they are, as incredibly animated as they are, I still know that well, I'm looking at animation. But when you watch like Sinbad, the Seven Swords, you know, or Sinbad, or you know, Clash of the Titans, or Jason the Argonauts, you can forget what you're looking as animated. Even though the movement's kind of jerky, even though obviously the technology wasn't as advanced. You can forget and actually, like when the troglodyte gets killed, I'm sorry, spoilers. But when the troglodyte gets killed, I remember crying. I burst into tears. I was rooting for that guy. You know, he started out kind of like being a threat, but then when he decided that they were friends, and he defended him to his last breath, and it was a character that you cared about, and Ray Harryhausen's animation can do that in a way that no modern animation that I've seen can do, and it all has to do with studying actual living, breathing creatures, how they move, how they, not only the primary movement, but the secondary movement. And Ray Harryhausen's dynamicism, his dynamic animation process unlocked that. And the biggest problem with modern technology is it's made people lazy, and they don't respect what's come before. And if these animators who are going to animate all these movies going forward would watch Ray Harryhausen's movies, I guarantee you, if you ask them if they've ever watched the Ray Harryhausen movie, they'd probably say something along the lines of, "What, that old stuff?" And but he figured it out. He cracked the code. And if you don't, pay attention to what he's accomplished, then you're never going to. You going forward, we're not going to get anything as good as what Ray was able to put out. For over 60 years of a career. Maybe 70 years. I think he might have stopped in the 2000s. But anyway, that's I just wanted today. I was thinking about Ray. I was thinking about we were talking the other day on X about how Ray Harryhausen movies still hold up, and they're more compelling and they're more rewatchable than anything that's coming out today. Anything CGI slop or anything is modern. And a lot of that has to do with how much passion, how much love, how much care he put into it. And this guy was animating like a minute at a time, and that minute might take him 14 weeks to do. But he put the time in, frame by frame by frame by frame. And he would do extra frames that nobody else would do to make it move more naturally. I mean, the Cali fight alone in Golden Voyage's Sinbad, I don't know how he did it. I got no idea. I know technically how he did it, but you watch that sequence, it's incredible. But anyway, that's been good for Telepathic Bunny Comics. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys and gals. Anybody who watches this in the future. If you have not gone down the rabbit hole for Ray Harryhausen, do so. Do yourself a favor. All the movies are good. All the movies hold up. Do the Sinbad movies. Do the Clash of the Titans, none of the reboots, but the Clash of the Titans that he did. And Jason and Argonauts. If you don't watch any of the movies, make sure you watch those. And if you like Rockwell Welch and as little amount of clothing as possible, 10,000 Years BC is probably a good one. Anyway, because only God can make that, according to Ray. But all right, thank you all for coming, and we will see you. There you go. All right. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. All right. But thank you all for coming. We will see you next time. I don't know if I'm streaming this Thursday night. I have a few ideas, but we'll see if they pan out if I have the time. But anyway, until I see you again, follow White Rabbit.